Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. Deebo Samuel responds to the idea that Kyle Shanahan should be on the hot seat. Super Bowl, NFC Championship, year after that, NFC Championship again, last year's Super Bowl. Why are you saying he's on the hot seat?
He doesn't understand how the business works. But just hearing the fact that Shanahan is even on the hot seat, we talk about one that's going to be sought after from every other team. I wish you would let someone like Shanahan go and allow his staff and that offense to go somewhere else, especially go somewhere else that has a quarterback, have a decent quarterback at that. Then he's going to build the same exact thing with that same exact offense.
Didn't he just sign an extension? Hey, yeah. Didn't he just sign an extension last year?
That don't mean nothing. Well, in this business, you know when something like this comes out, you know it's coming from inside the house, right? You hear me? The call is coming from inside the house. When stuff like this comes out. How
many years was it? Because he had like a year left on the contract. So he signed a 5-year extension because he had like a 6 or 7 year deal to begin with.
Yeah. Man, you know how this NFL is.
So this. Yeah. What's he making? 8, 9 a year? Because he had a contract that's like 6 years, $42 million.
Oh yeah. Rightfully so though.
So the Ocho, 14 a year.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Now you do realize, Ocho, like when you get rid of the head coach, his whole staff, he ain't got guys on 1-year deals.
Yeah.
He signed through 2027.
Right.
25, 26, 27. So that's 3 years. That's $42 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's on the hot seat, considering the man just came off the Super Bowl.
I know, but you know how fickle the NFL is. You know how fickle.
That's not the York family. They don't operate like that.
But then it wouldn't be out. Something like this wouldn't even leak.
Mm-hmm.
You heard me? Where there's smoke, there's fire. Stuff like this comes from inside the house. Always.
Well, it ain't coming from John Lynch because John Lynch got the job because of Kyle Shanahan. So who is it? Ned York?
Ain't no telling. York? Ain't no telling.
Hey, well, good luck with that one. He'd be unemployed. He'd be unemployed all of like 1 hour.
Shoot, 1 hour, 30 minutes. 30 minutes, if that.
Yeah. The last game of the night, Ocho, the Packers defeated the Dolphins.
Hey, man, I'm mad, man.
Ocho, what you mad for? Y'all been terrible. Y'all been terrible when the weather drops below 30 degrees, even before you was born.
That's what I'm mad about. We ain't played. Listen, even when Dan Marino was there, the Dolphins, we just do not play well when it comes to cold weather. And most of the time, when we make it to the playoffs, when we do have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, we always have to go somewhere where it's cold, whether it be Buffalo. Every time we go to Buffalo in December, what happens? Every time we make it to the playoffs and have to play Buffalo, what happens?
Yeah.
Every time we in cold weather, I don't know what it is. We don't
know what it is. Y'all don't play the coldest game y'all had played in Miami is 77 degrees. The other cold game was 50-something in Buffalo. And then all of a sudden you get into the 20s and you talk about you don't know what happened.
This is what's always been happening. It's been our Achilles. I keep saying people in the chat. I'm from Miami. I'm from Liberty City. I was born in Dade County at Jackson Memorial Hospital. So when my team growing up as a little kid was the Miami Dolphins, the Marks brothers, Marino. Anyway, but I consider myself, I always say we. I don't know what it is about the cold weather, Unc, and it's been this way.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I know what it is. I know what you're trying to say. I'm just saying, at what point are we going to get over the hump where we perform just as well as we do when it's hot in the goddamn cold?
When you get over the hump?
I don't know, man.
When you gonna learn how to drive? When you learn how to drive? I don't know what you want me to tell you. You just got to do it, Ocho.
Hold on.
You just got to do it.
Can I drive as efficient as I can in the heat as I do in the snow? That's the question.
No, because it's a different type of driving in snowy conditions than it is in the summertime. You don't drive the same in Georgia as you do in Colorado, as you do in New York, as you do in Baltimore, as you do in upstate New York or Michigan or Philadelphia. You don't.
Well, when it comes to playing football, it ain't no goddamn different. I done played in the cold. I done played in the cold. I know what you do.
Cincinnati is cold, Ocho.
It's still the same game, huh? It's still the
Ocho.
same game.
It's the same thing when Cincinnati played that cold game back in the early 80s and they got San Diego and the temperature went to 59 degrees. One team is used to playing in cold weather. Ocho, y'all practice in cold weather.
Yeah.
I'm not breaking news to anybody. There is a difference. That ball is harder. It feels like a brick. Normally, the wind is blowing. So now all of a sudden the ball playing tricks on you.
Yeah. Well, hell,
Dolphins are going to have to figure that out.
Make that excuse. The ball wasn't playing tricks on the Packers.
Because the Packers practicing that. So how do you get cold? I want you to tell me this. How do you get cold weather in Miami so you can practice in 20 degrees?
You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible to emulate it. It's impossible.
Because let me ask you a question. I don't know how y'all used to do it, but when they had turf fields, we would go inside the dome and practice on turf. So we get used because you run different on turf than you do grass.
Grass, yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah, on turf, you much goddamn faster too.
I don't know about all that. I know my knees hurt, my hips hurt, and my back hurt from running on that hard ass ish.
Yeah. Hold up. What about falling?
Yeah. But it was concrete. It ain't like the stuff, the field turf they got now. That was concrete with a layer of carpet on it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, playing in the old vet, Cincinnati was terrible too.
Yeah.
Kansas City was terrible too.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Playing in the old Astrodome was awful also.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was no field turf. When I first, everything, they had artificial turf. Kansas City, Cincinnati, the Astrodome, the vet was the worst. That was the worst stadium. Every year it was voted the worst stadium.
Right.
I'm trying to think. I think Soldier Field. I think Soldier Field had turf early on, and they went to grass later, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the grass, yeah.
But Ocho, they're just going to have to find a way to get past that. They're going to have to. Tua was 37 of 46, 365, 2 touchdowns. Really got lucky on one. That ball popped up. Normally that ball popped up like that.
One of Jonnu Smith?
Yeah, he hit Jonnu, and McKinney got a great jump on the ball.
Yeah.
But normally that ball pop in there like that, Ocho, that's
going the other way.
It's a pick. But give Tyreek credit. He kept his he followed through, kept his head in the game. What they have? Almost 400 yards of offense.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I take to that, Ocho, because they had to throw. They throw in the whole game. They're behind for the most part by 3 scores the entire night.
Right.
So, but they've got to find a way, Ocho. They got to start faster in these cold games because, like when it's psychological, Ocho.
Right.
You go in the cold weather game and all of a sudden you find yourself down, Ocho, you're down 2 scores, you're down 3 scores, and it get colder.
Then you got to think. You think the muff punt.
Yeah.
They recover, already in territory. They score, so they go up, and you put yourself behind the 8 ball. You put yourself behind the 8 ball, and now you're playing from behind right away. Not giving yourself a chance against a really good team, a very good Green Bay Packers team. That don't make it no easier.
Yeah. Jonnu Smith has put together his last month has been really, really impressive. He's had a couple of 100-yard games.
They get him involved.
They
get him involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he was good. They kind of used him as a blocker when he was in Tennessee. And then I think he went to New England and Tom Brady wasn't there. So they don't know how to use the tight end like Brady knew how to use the tight end. But again, Jordan Love was sensational throwing the ball. 21 of 28, 274, 2 touchdowns. Kraft was involved. Watson, Reed. He didn't have very many, targets. I mean, he had 3 catches, 24 yards, 2 touchdowns. But one thing about the Pack, they got a bunch of young, good wide receivers, man.
Young boys, man.
And you know who they remind you of? You know who they Green Bay drafted receivers remind you of the Steelers. You remember the Steelers had that run, and they still do, drafting receivers.
Right.
You know, you had Antonio Brown, Manuel Sanders. You have
Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace, yes. All those guys. You know, you had Hines, you had Randall L, and you had Fleck, and you had Santonio Holmes. It's just like a pipeline.
Line receivers. You know what's so funny? The Packers receivers so young. I call it they like a fraternity. It's like they still in college. A bunch of college boys just happen to be playing in the NFL on the same goddamn team. That's how young them boys. That's what they remind me of. A bunch of frat boys playing receiver for the Packers.
Yep. But the Dolphins, Ocho, if they really, like I said, and that's the thing that concerns me, and that's why I can't take them serious, because they're not going to have home field, and you're going to have to go someplace. It's cold in Kansas City in January. It's cold in Buffalo in January. It's cold in Baltimore in January. It's cold in Pittsburgh in January. So any possible place that they can be, if Cincinnati, I mean, whatever the case may be, it's cold in the places that they could possibly have to go.
Have to play, yeah.
And so that's what's concerning to me. That's what's really concerning to me. Denver, if Denver, Denver look like they're going to possibly be a wild card, it gets cold in Denver. Trust me. I played 12 years there. In January, it's cold as hell. Yeah. And so that's the thing, Ocho. That's why it's hard for me to take them serious when people say, can they be a contender?
Right.
Yeah. If they had Kansas City's record or Buffalo's record with a chance to get home field throughout the playoffs.
Advantage. Right.
But having to go on the road, if there's a reason why they've only, and I think probably when they went to the Super Bowl back in the 70s, they probably had home field, and it forced Pittsburgh or one of the other AFC teams, maybe whomever they faced, you had to come there.
Right.
But all I know is that since I've been old enough to watch the Dolphins play, anytime they had to go to Buffalo or they had to go to a cold weather Denver or cold weather Kansas City, they ain't coming out there with no victory.
Oh, I remember. They're
not coming out there with no victory.
I remember watching as a kid. It was the same way.
Yeah. So,
damn.
Look, I think the Cowboys going to rate. Go ahead.
Okay, now I'm going to say that I think about it. That was a good slate of games today. I mean,
the Giants and the Cowboys ain't no good slate of games. Stop.
Okay, maybe not the Cowboys and Giants, but I enjoyed the Packers game. Obviously, on the end of the Packers and the Cheeseheads because the way they look. But that goddamn
Chicago
Bears and Lions game, that was exciting. I thought the Lions was getting ready to run away with it for a minute.
Yeah,
they had the opportunity to run away and really extend that lead in that second quarter. But after halftime, the Bears made it interesting. Now
they did. I think the thing that really hurt them. They looked like they was about to go put 7 or worst case scenario 3 on the board when Gibbs fumbled.
Yeah.
Now,
it would have been over. It would have been over, right? Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's a 23-3 ball game.
Bingo.
But give the Bears. What I liked about the Bears, they came out of the half, Ocho, and they needed a touchdown in the worst way. They needed that because if they don't get a touchdown there, Detroit gets the ball. Detroit goes down. They got a touchdown, and so now. You're already behind, and you had the ball for 6-7 minutes, and you didn't have anything to show for it.
Right.
The Bears showed me some resiliency, but that bonehead play by the coach, that's an unforgivable, Ocho.
Oh yeah,
because he's had too many of them. He's had too many of them, Ocho.
Yeah.